Hello everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm the teacher of the IELTS Tutors. And I think that imposing a new law onto the working hours for the employees is a positive trend.
Hi everyone, my name is Hoàng Phúc and I'm the IELTS teacher at the IELTS Tutor, and I believe that the regulation are introduced on working hours to employees or actually have some negative consequences.
To explain from my positions, I think that when we impose the laws, it will protect the employees from getting burnout, stress, or overwork because they have more time to relax and come back to work later. Moreover, when they have time, they will spend it on their hobbies and their families so they can recharge the batteries and bounce back to work 10 times better. You see, that's like us. When we are overworked, we will produce the work products less effective than when we have full energy. So it's better to have a law to set the boundaries for the companies so that when the employees bounce back, they will do the work better as well as not harming the company's revenue.
Okay, so from my perspective, I believe that can have some negative consequences as businesses need the flexibility in the working hours. As there are some busy seasons or the period with a rapid growth, they need the workers, they need the staff to work overtime to meet the deadlines, to meet the customer demand so that the productivity can increase significantly. However, if they cannot serve that, the productivity will decrease, right? So additionally, I believe that there are some employees that they're willing to work overtime in order to earn their additional income. So I think that if we impose a regulation on working hours, it will reduce the opportunity to do that.
Okay. So I have a question for you. You're saying that the business needs to be flexible in terms of time to make decisions, right? So this law is just applicable when they are seeing out there are too many overtimes employees happening, and some business even let them do the OT without paying money for them. And from my perspective, I think that business decisions can be left on another day, or it will depend on the BOD to improve their efficiency. So how can you explain that? Overtimes will solve all the business problem if the companies continue to do that?
I think that the purpose of the government is to maintain the health of their citizens. So of course they should have some regulations to make sure that the workers are okay with what are they doing. However, with those who want to do overtimes, they can do 1 or 2 extra hours, but not 8 extra hours. So that can be helpful for them and also the government. So I have a question for you. So if you said that the working hours should be limited, so how the businesses can deal with some tight schedule? I mean that some period that have a huge amount of tasks that cannot be solved by the workers.
Okay, so for your questions, thank you for that. And I think that for these periods, I also think that the government should have the regulations be more easy for these companies because they are contributing to the nations economically, and they can, like what you have said, have a request for the government that these companies, I want to work overtime so that I can meet the revenue to the company, so as to maintain it. So if it's not into the peak hour, it is harder for them to approve for those requests. Because like I have said before, it is better to protect the employees and protect their health compared to not protecting them at all. Okay.
Thank you for that. So another question is, if there is a regulation on the working hours limit, so is that reduce the motivation of employees to work more?
I think we have to turn back to the context right now. There are some company out there, especially educational institutions, they have limitations for work-life balance. They only allow worker of them work from 9 to 5. And I think that it's not about how the overtime can kill the ambition, but it's about how the company design the environment, design the scope of work for the employee to keep their motivations up with their work. It's not about overtime. So if they really love their job, then 1 or 2 more hours will not gonna kill their, like 1 or 2 hours less will not kill their ambitions. But it's a way for them to reschedule their own times and as well as to meet their own deadlines later and still keep their fire too. So I think that's setting the rules for their times and not letting them to work overtime is a positive trend because it will give them times to go back to their hobbies and families and recharge their energies so they can bounce back to work 10 times better, as well as to protect them from working overtime and physically and mentally exhausted so they can protect their physical and mental well-being as well. Now, if you're saying that it will kill their ambitions, I think it's a no because we have regulations to develop their working environments as well as their working scope of work. So working 1 to 2 hours less is not going to kill their ambitions.
Okay, so from my perspective, I believe that we should protect the mental and also physical health of the workers. However, I think that excessive regulation in working hours can reduce the flexibility of both employers and employees, as there are too many tasks in some busy seasons that cannot be served by the workers. So therefore, I believe that it should be the freedom should be given to the workers to choose what they want to do and not don't want to do.
So do you think the government introduced a new law to limit the employees' working time is a positive
Or negative?
So comment down below and let us know your opinion.